1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Royal Blue Podcast sound check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Royal Blue Podcast sound check. Tuesday show live. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Royal Blue Podcast sound check.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Sound check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sound check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sound check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sound check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello and welcome to the Royal Blue Podcast. It is Tuesday, it is a new month, it is the day after deadline day. We are live on the Royal Blue YouTube channel. I am your host Ian Croll, and joining me in the Royal Blue studio today to talk all things Everton, we have Connor O'Neill. Connor, how are things? All good? You miss me?
I have, yeah. You've obviously took yourself off gallivanting, didn't you, around Spain at the most important time of the year.
It was a badly timed week off, to be honest.
You know, you missed the opening game at Hill Dickinson Stadium, a League Cup tie, Wolves, deadline day. Just, you know, we can just talk about them. All the big things you missed.
I missed basically 3 Everton wins.
Yeah.
So that's just mean I might as well just stay abroad. If people can start a GoFundMe page to keep me abroad, then I'll be more than happy to do that.
We could start with them in this office, actually.
But I mean, we're going to get into it. But yeah, good week for Everton.
Yeah, it's been
on the pitch.
It's been an incredible week, hasn't it? Myself and Joe Thomas spoke about it yesterday on the show we done. Just everything you could have wished for, really, isn't it? Getting off the mark at Hill Dickinson Stadium, securing, you know, a place in the third round of the League Cup, and then, you know, playing the way they did at Wolves on Saturday was great to see. Although, you know, in true Everton fashion, we didn't make it easy for ourselves, but we were more than deserved all 3 points, and the 3 goals we scored were not short of superb.
Absolutely. Well, just before we came on live, then we were having a couple of audio issues, but I managed to rectify the situation. So no stress. We are live. We've got audio. We've got colour. And Shelley Toffee Blue has asked, "Did I enjoy my holiday?" And I did. That's the main thing. Well, the main thing is Everton won.
I was going to say, what's the main thing? The main thing is, yeah, the 3 points.
I did watch all 3.
Maybe Mrs. Croll might not agree with that. She probably wants a lovely family holiday, but...
No, well, the kids were preoccupied with other things, playing with other kids as well. So, but yeah, I managed to watch all 3, which is good. But obviously, we're going to kind of talk about transfer business today, deadline day. It obviously is the day after the deadline slammed shut. Everton extremely active over the summer. And basically we're going to assess how good or bad the transfer window has been for Everton. We don't know, we got some different opinions, we will see. Plenty of outgoings, plenty of ingoings, plenty to get through. And we'll discuss the key points from the last few days. So yeah, you know, we've missed a week. Basically, I do want to apologise for that. I think I did say before that I went off that it might have been a bit of a struggle to get a show out. Chris Beasley's also been off as well, so it has been a bit of a challenge. But Connor and Joe did do a show yesterday. He did look back at Wolves. So that is on YouTube. That is on the Royal Blue podcast channel as well, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. So you can go back and listen or watch to that. The main thing is, though, we are back today. We are back tomorrow. Tony Scott's going to be in the studio, and we are going to be back Friday. All just in time for the first international break of the season.
I mean, I must admit, to be fair, last week I think was quite challenging because Chris Beasley has obviously been away, and I was also away myself for 3 days last week. So I went to see...
You were away as well?
I went to see Croll play at Wembley, didn't I? So I was off as well.
Gallivanting around as well.
So yeah, we all picked the probably the worst week of the year to disappear.
I wonder who signed off on that.
Yeah.
Okay, as always, give us a thumbs up and drop us a like, and obviously subscribe to the channel. Support is always greatly appreciated. We'll talk about deadline day transfers. Connor, how did you spend your deadline day?
Well, I was in work, so I was on a really early shift yesterday as well, so it started at 6 o'clock in the morning. So it was a very early start.
It's a big early start for you, isn't it?
I was I actually woke up before my alarm was due to go off. Couldn't get back to sleep, so I thought I'd get my phone and have a look what was going on in the world, even though it was about 4:25 in the morning, and saw the Alexander Isak news that it broke overnight. Obviously, I was already fast asleep by the time that broke, given my early start, and just thought, oh my. So I got myself up, showered, and come into work because I knew it was going to be a long day ahead. So obviously worked as normal, done a pod with Joe, left the office about 4 o'clock, 4:30, went home, and yeah, just watched the rest of the evening unfold. Obviously, you know, a couple of clubs left it late, a couple of clubs didn't get deals over the line. A very interesting deadline day, I think, in terms of perhaps how you conduct yourself during the transfer negotiations, because a couple of players who done their utmost to ensure they won't be playing for their clubs, the clubs that they were at, got their move, and the one lad who's probably, you know, being as good as gold and being above par in terms of how he's conducted himself, didn't get the move he wanted. So yeah, it was quite interesting, wasn't it, I think, in the end. But from an Everton perspective, obviously we got one new face in and had a bonus. Probably we'll get into it, probably would have liked to see our right back come in as well, but it wasn't to be. But yeah, I thought it was not a bad end to the window for Everton.
Obviously a lot made of early on in the window of how many players had left the club. I think you were looking at like double figures for the amount that had actually left. But in terms of the players who actually were pivotal, I guess, if you want to say that's a Sean Dyche team or a David Moyes team, you know, on both sides of that. You had a Decore who left and Ashley Young left. Dominic Calvert-Lewin left, but he didn't really play under David Moyes that much. Then you had a Jesper Lindstrom and a Jack Harrison. So they were the key players, really, in terms of the players that had left. Obviously, incomings, we all know Carlos Alcaraz, Tierno Barry. We've got Mark Travers, second string goalkeeper. Adam Asnu, second string left back. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. Jack Grealish, Tom King, third string goalkeeper. Tyler Diblin and Merlin Roll. Are we saying Roll?
Roll.
Obviously signed yesterday on loan. Have Everton strengthened? Are Everton a better team now than they were at the start of the window?
I would say so, yeah. I think there's still big issues that need addressing, and I think we all know what them issues are. But I always think, you know, to use that old age phrase, Rome wasn't built in a day, was it? And, you know, it was always going to be a tough window in terms of they were never going to fill every gap that they had. But I think they've got more quality now than what they had before, certainly from an attacking point of view, and I think we saw that on Saturday, which is important. Yes, there's still areas of concern, and people could argue and say the squad's still a little bit light in terms of numbers and options, but I think Everton addressed the big glaring issue, a lot of the big issues that they had, certainly from an attacking point of view, and probably are stronger, I think, now than what they were at the end of last season.
I'll go as far as to say they're definitely stronger.
Yeah, I just think if they'd have brought a right back in, I think that would have been a big difference, and maybe a left-sided defender who could play left back and a centre back. I think that would have completed a really good window for Everton if they'd have done that, but it wasn't to be. So yeah, they're definitely stronger than what they were, what they finished the season as.
We've had a comment from Glyn who says it's pronounced Rurl or Rurl, R-U-R-L.
Oh.
So that's what Glyn says. To be honest, because I only got back yesterday and I was trying to keep an eye on the transfer business, and Alan Myers on Sky pronounced it Roll. So that's what I went with.
I'm sure we'll find out in the coming days and weeks.
When we get a song or a chant for him after he scored a 30-yard screamer. I mean, you've kind of touched upon it, I guess, but if there was one more that you could have got in, would it have been the right back?
Yeah, I think so.
Would it have been a right back over a striker now, we're only left a little bit short with only two as well? Yeah,
I still think right back is just a big issue, isn't it? Because I think you look at it now, and obviously Seamus Coleman's done really well at Mansfield, but there's still probably concerns over how many games he'll play this season. Nathan Patterson, was nearly on the brink of moving to Seville. It didn't happen in the end.
What happened with that, by the way? Because I did see that while I was away.
I think what happened was that Napoli were going to sign Seville's right back, and the domino effect was then Patterson was going to move over, and I think that deal collapsed, which meant that.
What a move that would have been for Patterson, by the way.
So
just to get out of this rut that he's in, and I think that would have been a fantastic move for him. Not to be, obviously.
I think obviously, a right back would have perhaps then freed up Jake O'Brien to go and play in the middle. It probably looks now like O'Brien will probably continue at right back, you suspect. So I think right back would have been the one area that would have brought someone in. But I do understand the people's argument around the forward line, because it is now only Beto and Tierno Barry, giving Yusuf Shamiti to pass on a permanent basis to Rangers. So I can understand where people have a little bit concerns. But yeah, if I had to pick, I'd have brought a right back in, I think, over a centre forward.
It is interesting, the right back situation, because I'm not going to disagree with you that we definitely needed a right back. Obviously, we did try to address it with Kenny Tete. That didn't come off. But okay, we have failed to secure a new one. But when you think about it, we've got 4 players who can all play right back. Now, we can debate and argue the quality of those players and whether they're fit for purpose in that. But you've got a Jake O'Brien, who's effectively Everton's number 1 right back now. You've got Seamus Coleman, who I think has done relatively okay in the minutes that he's had. And Nathan Patterson, we know there's question marks over his quality. And then there's James Garner, who is kind of now hopefully cemented himself in that holding midfield position, but we know his versatility and he can play right back. So although I don't disagree with what you're saying, effectively we've got 4 players who can play in that right back position. Yeah, we do. And in James Garner, they've got a fullback who played fullback for England under 21s when they won the European Championship a couple of years ago. So, he has played at the highest level in that position. I don't think anyone would be too disappointed if he did play right back, because I think the games he's played right back, he's actually done quite well.
I agree with that, but I just think the problem with the forward situation was who are they going to bring in? It's tough, isn't it, on deadline day to try and bring a forward in who can have an impact. Because obviously by that point everyone's either asking for sky high prices or what is available probably isn't going to be good enough to fill the gap. So, and also Everton only going to play with one centre forward, aren't they, this season? I think that's abundantly clear. It's either going to be Beto or Barry. It's never going to be both. So I can understand this both arguments. I would have just maybe liked to have seen a right back come in, but it wasn't to be.
Paul Tolton says, just with regards to the striker situation, do you guys think we've got enough cover up front? There's only other option, except for Beto and Barry. We could really put Skilly up front. It is a little bit light there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Skilly means Illiman and Dye.
But would Dye be a natural? I don't know about that.
I'm a little bit concerned that, I mean, again, we can argue all day about whether Schmidt is good enough or whether he maybe a loan deal would have been better to see if he could have progressed.
Kicked on.
But if I'm being totally honest, am I right in saying that Yusuf Schmidt loan deal has allowed for Roll to come in as well? Because we've obviously had to pay a fee for Roll and a loan deal. Has that kind of been the kick on with regards to that? Has there been anything?
I don't know about that. I'm not sure. I don't know whether maybe the Roll was always in mind to come in.
So obviously Schmidt needs to play football matches. He's third choice. He's not getting in at the Beto. He's not getting in at the Barry. Was it the right choice to sell him then, or could it have been a loan deal?
They could have just been offered something. They think, for all we know, what they could be offered, they believe to be the right price. And
he just doesn't fancy him either, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. And he just thinks, we've got a lot more to gain in selling than we have to loan him out. I think as well, it's one of them, isn't it? I think Schmidt will be one of those players who will always be question marks over, because I actually thought Schmidt showed glimpses of blossoming into something. Other people have not seen that, so he's always going to divide opinion. And I think ultimately, like you say there, he was always going to be third choice this season. And your third choice, if someone comes in for a £10 million bid for you, or an offer that could rise to 10 million, I think it's hard not to say no, isn't it?
I think as well, anytime you've always wanted Schmidt to do well when he's come on, it's only really little cameos. I think he played a couple of pre-season games, didn't he, the season before, and then he got injured, and he just always struggled to get back to fitness. And then even when he came, he had a couple of cameo appearances under David Moyes. Obviously, Moyes trying him out, and I just think Moyes didn't fancy him. And if I'm being totally honest, he probably didn't do enough in the minutes that he had. Even if it was limited, I get it. I just always felt that you wanted a little bit more from Schmidt. The type of player that he is, he was always a bit too relaxed in his approach. I don't know. I don't know what you think, but I don't know what was the fee. I feel like I'm only just coming back to all this.
8 what could rise to 10, I think. So they might look at that and think that's good business.
We lost money though. Didn't we pay 15 million?
I think you paid 12. Didn't mean it could have risen to 15.
Just a shame. I feel a bit.
Injuries haven't helped, have they? No. I think that's the big thing. Injuries haven't helped, and like anything, isn't it? When injuries play the part, it's tough to get back fit. And I think he struggled to get back fit and to hit the levels that perhaps people expect, and that's why Wise finds his game time so limited.
In terms of what we've got though, Beto and Barry, it only takes an injury to one of them. I'd say a long-term injury, but even 2 months out, 3 months out, and you're left with one month out, fit and available striker.
One of them has a month out. It's a hammer blow, isn't it? Because then you're putting all your faith in the other one to step up, and
which we've done in the past plenty of times.
Yeah,
I mean, the only thing I would say is Beto seems quite durable. Don't think he's picked up an injury since he's been here, and if he has, then hasn't really forced him to miss many games.
But Beto largely led the line by himself in the second half of last season, didn't he, under Moyes?
That's what I mean. So durable.
It was him, wasn't it, over most.
Just moving on a little bit then. Obviously, Moyes, openly spoke about how he wasn't particularly pleased with how things were going in the summer with transfers. Do you think he'll be a lot more pleased now with the window shut and what he's got, at his disposal to use?
Yeah, I think he probably be, whether he's happy, because I think every manager always wants more, don't they? And probably expects more. That's just the nature, I think, of any manager, isn't it? But I think he'll be content with what he's got.
Well, didn't he say he wanted 10 and we've got 9?
Yeah. And to be fair, if Kenny Tete doesn't turn on us at the last minute, we end up with 10, don't we? So I think he'd be content with what we've got. I think he'd be pleased that he's managed to add some real quality in the attacking areas and add someone like Jack Grealish and the calibre of player that he is. So I think he'd be quite happy. I think he'd be pleased with the business we've done, yeah.
I mean, we've said
I think as well, we've not lost players like he didn't want to lose, have we? Which I think is another plus point. Obviously, Jared Brownfield's been tied down with a new deal.
Yeah.
Jordan Pickford's remained at the football club.
Okay.
Just Gana Gay signed a new deal. Quite clear the players who David Moyes wanted to keep at Everton, we've managed to keep as well, which I think is a bonus.
I think as well, I was just going to touch on it there. We've said it, even when things didn't look great in the window, things look better, obviously look a lot better now, but it was always going to take more than one window. It's going to take 2 or 3, isn't it, to get things right? I think this is a fantastic
new
one.
set of players whose contracts up next summer, so, it's...
Is it a coincidence that James Garner we're starting to see the best of James Garner now that his contract's up? Am I that cynical?
I think that is cynical. I'm a Garner fan, aren't I?
No, I am as well.
I think he's done quite well and has done quite well since he come in. But again, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's another group of players who this summer their contract's going to be up, and it's going to take years to get onto a level playing field, isn't it? Because we have been so far behind, and we have been hampered for so many years in terms of recruitment, what we can and can't do because of PSR restraints and whatnot. So yeah, I think it was always going to take more than one window, and it'll take more than 2 windows because you probably can't expect too much in January, can you? Because every manager always says January is the hardest month to bring people in because clubs don't want to let their better players go, and what is available might not be what David Moyes wants. So it could be next summer before we see more changes come again.
I mean, just on Garner, we've got a comment here. The Blues have said, been saying it for 2 years, and it's still true. Garner is our best fullback. Don't necessarily disagree with it. I think he can do a fantastic job there. I think he's actually built like a fullback, if I'm being totally honest. Like, that is his shape. I just think that I was starting to worry about his versatility was becoming too much of a hindrance to him. I mean, just look for the Leeds game. Moyes thought he was good enough to play left back. Even before that, the pre-season games, he had a couple of really good games as the holding midfielder. And now I think that's where he should play. That's got to be his position. Don't get me wrong, if you're a bit desperate, playing right back or whatever, don't play him left back.
Is Roll's arrival perhaps thinking David Moyes thinks he could play right back?
Competition, isn't it?
Garner could play right back and Roll can play midfield if need be.
Competition for places, and that's something that we've drastically...
Well, we've needed that for a long time, haven't we? How many times, certainly under Sean Dyche recent years, whereby you sit there and, you basically know the starting 11, you probably know the subs are going to come on and the people who are on the bench just making the numbers, essentially.
David Murphy says the window was very good in terms of additional quality. The right back is not a massive issue at the minute. Moyes is looking no further than January. I think I kind of agree with that. I think a lot of people will disagree. I think you kind of disagree as well, don't you? That it's not a massive issue in the sense that we've got numbers who can play there. It just depends on the quality. Is Jake O'Brien a right back? Obviously not. I think you've seen a couple of instances, certainly for the Roma game and maybe the Brighton game, was it, where going forward that's where he's going to struggle a little bit. But I still think he can offer stuff going forward as well. It's just he wants to be playing as a centre back, doesn't he? And unfortunately for him at the moment in time, he's got to do a job for the team. Yeah,
he is. He's ultimately got to play right back, hasn't he? It's as simple as that. Obviously at the minute as well, Moyes has got 3 centre back options, hasn't he, available to him once Jared Brownfield gets back fit. Because Michael Keane's not put a foot wrong, I don't think, in the games he's played in recent weeks. So, options all over the pitch.
Now, I think that's the thing as well. And I'm going to take it so there's a Terry McAllister on Twitter. I don't know if you know him. He's done a nice graphic, which I'm going to give him a shout out. I'm going to steal it from him. He's done a graphic of the football pitch with basically the team. I'm not going to be able to show it on screen, but basically how he's drawn it up. We've got 2 players for every position. Michalenko, left back with Anzu, Branthwaite, Keane, Tarkovsky, O'Brien, Coleman, Patterson as the right back. And then you've got Garner, Roll, Garner, Irabuman, Grealish, McNeil on the left, Dewsbury Hall, Alcaraz as the 10, and Dye and Diblin on the right, and Beto and Barry We know that it's not fixed. That can change.
But that's technically his 2 players every position,
No, it is,
isn't it?
it?
So it's competition.
That's what you want, isn't it? We know when Dyche played on the right a little bit. We know he can play on the left. We know he plays on the left, but Grealish will probably play in the centre as well. And I think Alcaraz, I mean, what a fantastic goal against Mansfield. I think a lot of people saying, well, he's just going to be warming the bench. He might, but it proves there that we've got quality on the bench.
Yeah, and someone who can come and make an impact. Which again is something that we've been crying out for years, isn't it? Is having people who come off the bench and make an impact.
Yeah. Harrison Armstrong gone out on loan. Let's talk about him for a minute.
Good move.
Yeah, I agree.
Good move, really good move. I thought he was really good against Mansfield in the cup. And I've been impressed every time I've watched him, to be honest. I think he's a really good player. And I watched a little bit of him for Derby at the back end of last season. And actually, work with someone, and I know someone who's a Derby fan. And they couldn't speak highly enough of how good he was and the impact he had there. So I'm made up he's gone out on loan, get some valuable game time under his belt. And, it's a chance for him to test himself in the Championship again. And obviously, as you just touched on there, you look at all the options David Moyes got available to him. Where's Armstrong going to get the required number of games in game time to make sure his progress continues and doesn't stall? Probably not, is he? So it's good to get him out on loan, get him in the Championship. And, you can only see good things happening for Harrison Armstrong from what we've seen so far.
I think as well, even without the addition of Roll, he may have struggled to get into the team as well. So obviously with him coming in, I think it was essential that Armstrong did go out on loan, and he's going to get game time now. You saw how much he's improved from his first spell at Derby, wasn't it? And I'm happy with that decision.
I think it's the best decision for the club, for Harrison Armstrong. And he's gone to the Championship. It's a tough league, isn't it? And he'll be tested. Yeah,
absolutely. Where does it leave McNeil then, do you think? I mean, I know we have spoke about this a little bit, and he has he's had a couple of minutes. It's not like he hasn't played. He played against Mansfield, didn't he? He played on the right against Mansfield.
Yeah, he started against Mansfield.
So it's not like he's out of Moyes' plans, or I guess you could argue that he was played to put in the transfer, like in the window.
What wasn't great against Mansfield, though, was he in that first half, especially?
Oh,
he looked.
Where does it leave him then?
I think it leaves him fighting for his
future,
isn't it, a little bit? Yeah.
But he's also a player who could do a job, score a goal, create an assist.
Yeah, and look, this time last year, he was probably Everton's most creative player, wasn't he? And he was the player who was behind a lot of goals. You think of the Palace game where he scored twice, didn't he? They come from behind to win 2-1. He played a massive part in that. Yeah, I think it's an interesting one with McNeil, because I think it's kind of gone a little bit full circle for him in terms of he's gone from being one of the main players, now he's on the outside looking in. And watching Saturday, if we're being honest, I think he's going to become a squad player, because you look at the 4 who started in terms of Beto, Grealish, Dewsbury Hall, and Ndiaye. It's going to take something special for one of them 4 not to be playing week in, week out.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it's going to be a challenge for McNeil to get minutes. I think he probably will over the course of the season.
He'll be someone who comes off the bench, you've got no doubt about that. And he'll be someone who David Moyes will probably look to utilise off the bench. But I think in terms of start matches, I think it's going to take something either special from him, or an injury or whatnot to force him into the plans, because I just can't see how that 4 who started on Saturday, Molineux, aren't the 4 who are going to start moving forward every week, because they were just so good, weren't they? And it's it's as simple as that, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trying to look through some of the comments as Connor's speaking there as well, so I can read them out. Paul Tollerton, just to point out that new signing Roll is very versatile, and as explained in his interview, he was spoken to Moyes and sees him as a box-to-box midfielder and is very quick with the ball. I did see one clip of him running like the entire length or 3/4 of the pitch and going around a couple of players and slotting into the back of the net. Obviously, these YouTube clips and montages maybe don't give the complete picture of a player, but it was a good goal.
That's best in the one I watched when we signed Dennis Stracqualesi on loan. That's one summer, and it was 3.5 minutes into this YouTube video until I saw him scoring a goal. So that's a positive. And that was probably a sign of things to come from Dennis as well, even though he become a cult hero.
He was a legend, Dennis. I remember we signed him when I was away. Was that the season that we sold Arteta?
Yeah, same season we signed Royston Drenthe on loan as well.
Yeah,
same one, yeah.
Lee Page says, we were never going to do a complete rebuild in one window. Just look at our bench now. Obviously, we are in a way better position than last season. And I just think you'd only have to look at that from the Wolves' performance. I think the Wolves' performance was probably the best performance so far this season. And we've said this, we were all like looking at like Decore's gone, who's going to replace Decore? It wasn't a case of replacing Decore because the players that he's brought in are going to change the way we play. And
we've had a more quality though, haven't we?
No, that's what I mean. It's more quality. People were worried about kind of quantity at the middle stage of the transfer window, and I just think it's certainly paid off. I mean, we can rate it and we can do our little thing where we go out of 10. If I'm gonna say man, I do think it's an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree. 8 out of 10.
I think I'm a little not disappointed. I'm a little bit concerned about the striker situation because obviously an injury or two to Barry or Beto, you're going to be a little bit screwed. The right back situation absolutely needs addressing. However, we've got players who can fill in there. That's without a shadow of a doubt, and can do a really good job. So it's an 8 out of 10 for me. And I'd go as far as to say, if we end up getting a right back and brought a striker in, you would have been looking at a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I think there was a lot of frustration. There was a lot of concern early parts, mid parts of the transfer window. And what has helped is that we've got 3 wins in a row. I mean, let's face it, on the back of the Leeds defeat, I think we were all a little bit worried. Michalenko was injured. We played a
makeshift team.
Well, it was certainly a makeshift formation, playing Garner left back. That was the one thing that frustrated me about that game, was that I felt that the players didn't just let themselves down. It was the manager, and the 3 wins that we've had over the past week are proven to me that we're going to be okay.
Oh yeah, like Brighton. Okay, we rolled our luck.
We did, but
they had chances.
They're a good team as well.
But we got 2 chances and we took them. Mansfield was just a case of job done, wasn't it? I mean, I know this sounds really bad, but they're horrible, them type of games, aren't they? Because, if we win 5-0 against Mansfield, everyone goes, oh, well done. Like, you're a Premier League club, they're a League One club, you should be winning comfortably. You can't really win from them games, and if you get beat, it's a total disaster, isn't it? Because you've been knocked up the cup by a Football League club. The one that really made me realise that we were going to be okay was Saturday, because, Wolves there after taking, and we battered them, didn't we, for large parts?
It shouldn't have been 3-2 that game.
We just stupidly switched off twice, didn't we? And they scored from nowhere to make it awkward for ourselves and difficult when it didn't have to be. But the goals we scored, was superb. The attacking play was brilliant. And on another afternoon, we could have had more. I mean, Grealish should score at 1-0 when Dewsbury all plays him in. I know Sarr makes it a good save, but you probably bank on Grealish should score there. I think Beto had a chance, didn't he, as well? Second half, probably could do a little bit better if we're being critical. So, we should score more. But just the way we played, the intensity that we played with, and, how compact we looked was really pleasing to see. And, if we eradicate the small mistakes and switch it off, we'll get even better. One thing to point out on Saturday, though, that he should never, ever do ever again, is take a risk of going to get off the pitch. As soon as he went off the pitch, we fell apart. It's like he's the glue who holds everything together. And I remember saying this actually a couple of years ago. Dice done something similar, took him off when we struggled. And I said, it's like taking the adult out the room and letting the kids run wild. It's almost like, it is like, let's say he's like the person with a bit of a
sounds like my holiday.
Holds it together a little bit, and then when you take him out, it's like people start doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, and people switch off, or people start overplaying. So yeah, if David Moyes is listening to this or watching this, please don't take him off again for the sake of it.
Well, he's got plenty of time to mull over that. Feels like ages away our next game now, doesn't it?
Week Saturday, isn't it? And I tell you what, I know it's easy to say, but you would have liked to have fancied facing Villa this weekend, because they were really poor on Sunday night. Really poor.
I didn't know Villa had been beaten 3-0 at Crystal Palace at home until the Monday, because I was flying. I was actually shocked.
They were really poor. Yeah. I mean, I must admit, I didn't watch it properly because I was working on Sunday, because obviously Liverpool had played Arsenal. But I did have it on, and I was occasionally watching, and what I saw from a Villa perspective was really disappointing. Palace were good, but Villa were very, very poor.
Gav Buckland's wild early season shout now starting to maybe make a little bit more sense. Did you first manager for the sack?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? They've obviously been beaten by Palace, been beaten by Brentford, drew it home to Newcastle. Yeah. So yeah,
they've signed a couple of players though, haven't they?
Well, that's the thing now, is it? They brought in Harvey Elliott, didn't they? They brought in Jadon Sancho. They brought in Victor Lindelof on deadline day. So
you think that would improve?
They have added a bit of quality on the day. certainly Sancho's a very good player, isn't he, on his day? So they'll probably hoping that they get a similar reaction what they did from.
I think Emery's kicked off there a little bit and thought we need players
you probably suspect that, wouldn't you? I think maybe Sunday night was the final nail for them to get a move on and get some plays in. But maybe we can talk about Villa next week, can't we? We could have a whole week without anything to react on.
No, I know. It just seems so far away now. These international breaks are a little bit frustrating because obviously 3 games played, international break, then it's another 3 break, and then another. Well, then kind of you get it. That's when you start.
It's 4, isn't it? It's 5 when we come back. Sorry, isn't it?
Into the swing of things.
We play Villa, Liverpool, West Ham, Palace, and Wolves in the League Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's interesting how it's all panned out. I think got a comment here from David Murphy. Glad McNeil is no longer getting a game. He's slow, turgid and unimpressive. He's being replaced by quality. We have multiple dead ball takers. McNeil is obsolete.
I think that's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
I think he's a lot better than what he's been described as there, and he's played a vital role, I think, in what's been good about Everton in recent years. So I think that's a little bit harsh.
I think he'll have a small impact over the course of the next couple of months. You know, if he knows he's not getting a game, he will probably look to want to move in January, whether that's a loan or a permanent. I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if he has some sort of an impact over the next couple of weeks and months. What I was going to ask you was, obviously I missed the Brighton game, so what was your experience of the Brighton game, just the first Premier League game?
Absolutely
superb. Amazing.
Yeah. I was a little bit sceptical going into it, certainly from after Leeds, because you always have that nagging thought or that nagging feeling a little bit of like, it's not Goodison, is the atmosphere going to be the same? It takes people time to get used to new surroundings, doesn't it? You know, new routines. You know, someone like yourself who goes every home game, you know, even the route you take to the game, isn't it, and stuff like that's all going to change, or where you might go for a pint and stuff like that. But it was absolutely superb. The atmosphere was incredible. The 10 minutes before kickoff in which they played, there she goes, grand old team spirit of the Blues, and then eventually dead cars, is 10 minutes that I think will live with me forever. It was just, you know, it was incredible. And the biggest thing, I was actually talking about someone, I was walking home last Wednesday after the Mansfield game, and I got talking to this bloke who was walking alongside me, and I said, like, the biggest thing about it so far is it already feels like home. You know, people, you know, you go in and people already, you know, got that bit of a bounce and stuff. And obviously, look, winning helps, doesn't it? We've won 2 from 2 so far in terms of competitive matches. That helps. But I was just, I was really impressed, and it was great, and the atmosphere was great. And, you know, I went back into town afterwards, after it finished. I walked along, and it was I'd probably say about an hour, probably even an hour and a half, but about an hour and a half after the full time whistle had gone. I left because obviously the post-match press conferences and stuff, and I walked along Regent Road into town. And even then, you know, an hour and a half, there was still those people outside the Bramley Moor, those people on the way into town. And I've done a bit of a pub crawl with a couple of people, and, you know, we went around Tempest, Hackney's Hayway, obviously where the Denby Castle is, and, you know, along Castle Street, and town was just blue. It was full of Everton fans, you know, loads of supporters made their way back in, and it was just absolutely superb the whole day. And yeah, it was quite magical, really. I know that doesn't do nothing for you because you were in here, so I don't want to rub salt into the wound.
No, listen, I'm made up for everyone.
But it was superb, and it was very special. And, you know, it was just great to see, obviously, like, town full of Everton fans and everyone out enjoying themselves. And like I say, winning football matches obviously helps in them situations, doesn't it? Because if you win football matches, people are generally quite happy, aren't they, from a supporter's perspective. But no, it was great, and, you know, hopefully long may it continue.
Absolutely. Listen, I made a big thing of the Roma game, even though it was a friendly, because I knew I was missing the first league game, and then subsequently turned out to be missing the League Cup game as well. And even that was exactly what you've just described there. Don't get me wrong, the atmosphere probably was nowhere near as what it would have been for the Brighton game. Am I right in saying that there was some article that was written, or that game was the 5th highest noise in a Premier League match?
The scale or something. Yeah, I did see that, yeah.
I mean, right away, that's exactly what the stadium is being designed for. That's only the first, like, Premier League game. Can you imagine, like, a winner against Liverpool or winner against United? The noise, like, what that's going to generate is going to be going to be incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it is going to be incredible. And they're the nights that you crave for, aren't they? You know, because that's, you know, we had so many of them at Goodison. You know, want them nights at the Hill Dickinson Stadium.
And Lee Page is just talking about Jared Branthwaite. When is he back? I don't know the answer to that, unfortunately. But what I will say about that is, obviously, Branthwaite's been missing for the first couple of games of the season. We know Leeds wasn't great, but if anything, whether you agree or not, I still felt we were defensively solid against Leeds, like for everything. I know they didn't offer much.
And just on that, by the way, there's been a couple of questionable handball calls that haven't been given since Everton were at Leeds, and the one that was given for Tarkowski. So, yeah.
I've stayed away from all that because it just frustrates the life out of me.
Oh, yeah, and it obviously just built, but there has been a few that I've seen and thought, that's interesting, that's not a penalty, when Tarkowski's was a penalty.
In terms of Branthwaite, though, obviously, if he comes back in the next couple of weeks, you'd assume that he'd go straight in there over Michael Keane. Do you think Branthwaite coming back in would shore up the defence a little bit, you know, avoid any of those silly mistakes that we have made, let's face it?
Not really, I don't think so, because the second goal, especially on Saturday, comes because Mykolenko switches off. Now, he can't control Mykolenko switching off, can he? So, you know, I understand what people are saying in terms of he shores it up and he makes it better. And he does make it better because, you know, we've all waxed lyrical long enough talking about how Branthwaite's one of the best centre-halves in the Premier League. So, you know, it does improve us. But I think in terms of the mistakes, they're just individual mistakes, aren't they? Like, you know, Mykolenko switching off is Mykolenko switching off. That's no one's... that's on him, isn't it? You know what I mean? No one can control him switching on and off. So Branthwaite returning does improve us, but I think some of the individual mistakes are just individual mistakes.
Eltel on the banks of the Royal Blue Mersey says, the transition to our new Hill Dickinson Stadium has been an easy process. The stadium feels like home. The atmosphere was superb and time was unbelievable for everyone. Fans felt like our city. I mean, I said that I felt like that after even the Roma game, even when it was defeat. Like, I just felt like it's just going to be a weapon for us to use now against opposition teams moving forward. Like Goodison can be.
Yeah.
We know it's been a difficult time over the past couple of years, and Goodison shouldn't really be remembered for those difficult times, but we obviously came out of that. And I think that's important, though, isn't it? The transition from an old stadium to a new stadium, because it could take a little bit of time to get used to, but we just gone straight in there and
100% it can. I think some clubs struggle, don't they, when they first move stadiums to get a win, and they struggle to adapt to the new surroundings and stuff like that. But, you know, what we've seen so far, Everton have had no such issues.
We'll finish off now.
Everyone's probably just more delighted if they've got more space, because, you know, everywhere's bigger and, I dare say, better than what it was at Goodison in terms of, you know, facilities and stuff. So probably everyone's just grateful for the breathing space and, you know, not on top of each other. Yeah,
absolutely. Just to finish off then, where are we? 5th on 6 points, which is basically a huge contrast to how we finished the Leeds game. I think 14th on 0 points.
You'd have bit your hand off, wouldn't you, after Leeds said we'll take 6 from the next two, scoring 5 goals.
Does that not make the Leeds game so much more frustrating?
It does. And
even with that, even the performance,
even when you see them getting like swept aside by Arsenal a week later, and you think, oh, they probably their way after taking if we'd have just. But the Leeds game was done. It was just, there's nothing you can do.
No.
What we could do is impact the Brighton and the Wolves game moving forwards, and we've managed to do that. So, you know, kudos and, you know, hats off to David Moyes and his players, because I think, you know, if I'd have said to you after Leeds on that Tuesday, we'll take 6 points from our next two league games and we'll score 5 goals in the process, you'd have bit my hand off, wouldn't you? So,
well, I would. Sorry, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Everyone fit now that with the additions that we've brought in. What's Everton's best 11?
Pickford in goal, O'Brien right back, Branthwaite and Tarkowski. But Keane has done nothing wrong, and I think could give Tarkowski a push, if what we've seen. Mykolenko at left back. Then it's James Garner, Gay, Ndiaye, Dewsbury Hall, Grealish, Beto.
Which side though? Ndiaye on the right, or?
Yeah, but I think they're going to swap though, aren't they? I think they're going to be coming to linked, aren't they? Because everyone does that now, don't they? It's the new trend in football is swap your wingers and stuff like that. So, but I think Ndiaye probably will play on the right and Grealish will play on the left. Just will start that way. Dewsbury Hall and Beto.
Beto, yeah. Beto over. You've changed your tune over Beto, haven't you?
I just think Barry's still a bit raw, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I think The thing with Beto is now, this is where I think not just Beto and Barry as well, with the creativity that Everton have got in their team and the fact that they've got Ndiaye, Grealish, Dewsbury Hall, and you will bet that they're going to create chances and opportunities by putting balls into the box. And as we've seen, Brighton, Jack Grealish puts the ball into the box, Ndiaye's the back post. Same things happen at Wolves, ball into the box, Ndiaye at the back post. Grealish header across the face to goal, ball into the box essentially. Obviously, the third goal was great individual skill by Grealish to just think the ball into Dewsbury Hall's path, and the finish was spectacular. But it puts pressure on Everton's forwards now because they've got to be in the box, because it's all well and good Dewsbury Hall and Grealish putting balls in there, but someone's got to get on the end of them. So now I think it's going to be interesting to see how Beto and Barry perform and how often they take the chance to get, because you suspect that they are going to get chances.
Just very quickly before we go on to final thoughts, what did you make of Dominic Calvert-Lewin's performance for Leeds in the League Cup against Sheffield Wednesday?
It hurt, to be honest, Ian. It hurt watching Dom struggle like that.
Do you know what?
I'll be honest, right? I didn't see it because that night Leeds with Sheffield Wednesday was the night I was at Coldplay at Wembley.
Okay.
So I only seen it the next morning when I got up, and obviously by that point, people have put together like a little package of the misses and the penalty and stuff like that. So yeah, it wasn't his finest night, was it, by any means?
I was so close to. I was sat there with a drink watching the game, and I thought, so close to tweeting you.
I was too busy having the time of life at Coldplay, so it would be
you
wasted.
You wouldn't have cared, would you? Yeah. So someone made a compilation of his misses, which was about 30 seconds long.
That's what I saw. That's what I saw the next morning when I woke up.
Penalty miss as well, which was shocking, by the way. Like, actually, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is actually a good penalty taker.
Reminds me of the one he took into Brighton a couple of years ago. Remember the Park End, and he put it over.
Yeah.
That's what
I think he's just overthinking it, just trying to wait too hard.
He's put too much thought into it instead of just But it's not been an easy start for him, has it, by any means?
Just an interesting point here from Lee Page. It's strange. Beto will score, but Barry's better at linking up the play.
I actually think that he's not far wrong there. I think. Yeah. I thought Barry showed good touches against Brighton in terms of linking the ball up and bringing in people. But I do think probably from what we've seen so far, Beto is more of a goal threat than Barry.
And Emma says, "I can never let you live it down."
It's going to haunt me for life, isn't it?
It is.
No matter what I do in life, that is just always going to haunt me, that clip.
And it's probably a good place to finish, to be fair.
Yeah.
Finish on a positive. Final thoughts? Okay, well, any final thoughts from you?
No, not at all. Just, even though the deadline day's finished, there's still going to be plenty going on, isn't it? Because it's Everton. There's always stuff going on.
As always. Well, we are back tomorrow. Tony Scott will be in the studio and we will assess Everton's start to the season, albeit only 3 games, but obviously been a relatively positive one, I think. Fair enough. 3 wins out of 4.
Just on that though, you contrast that to recent years when we've gone into the international break at this point and we've gone into it on the back of some absolute dull performances.
Well, we hadn't won a game in August, had we, for years?
No more so than last year when we threw away 2-0 leads with 4 minutes to go against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
So times are changing.
Times have changed.
Yeah.
Just a reminder that our show's official sponsor, NordVPN, to get the best discounts off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/EFC. Our link will also give you 4 extra months on the 2-year plan. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The link is in the podcast episode description. That is all for today's show. Please give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for joining on the live stream today, everyone. Drop us some 5-star reviews on Apple and Spotify. Most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. I've been Ian Croll, joined by Connor O'Neill, and this has been the Royal Blue Podcast.